This is the weekly astrology report. We're covering your life and what may be going on this week ahead from Monday, January the 6th to Sunday, the 12th of January, 2025. And we're going to talk a lot about Mars and Neptune happening Friday through to Monday, because this is the major event of the week ahead. And it is really almost the only thing of importance happening in our sky. And what I want to say about Mars and Neptune today is to think about the big picture story. Back in the end of October, around the 28th, 29th, Mars and Neptune were also in a flowing trine together. And this is compassionate action and dreamy spiritual warrior energy and all kinds of good stuff I'm going to talk about that apply to events in your life at the end of October and for the world at large. So we'll look at a little bit of comparison here. I'm also going to take a quick look at Justin Trudeau's natal chart, because his situation in Canada has gotten really, really difficult. And it looks like he may be forced to or facing an option to resign in the week ahead. I'm recording this on Sunday, January 5th. At this point, he has not resigned. It's possible if he doesn't resign this week, then he will face an election from a non-confidence vote that will be called in the House of Commons in Canada anytime after the 18th of January to February 1st, based on the sky. So we're going to talk first of all about you, though. Who cares about politicians? There's a general theme, right? This is for my Canadian viewers who've been begging for a Justin Trudeau story forever. But let me just talk about the Neptune-Jupiter concept before we get going. Sorry, the Neptune-Mars concept and what you need to understand about this. You know, Mars and Neptune began to join together in a conjunction in the heavens back in 2013 and continued to do that on the 2013, 2015, 17, 2018, 2020, and 2022. Mars met with Neptune in the sign of Pisces. This is meaning that for those years, 2013 until this very last very last trine that leads to a conjunction that's going to occur in our heavens in April of 26 in another sign, Aries, we're coming to the close of a cycle in which Mars and Neptune have been playing games together in watery Pisces. And everybody who knows anything about Mars, Neptune, and Pisces will know that Pisces and Neptune can be very connected to conspiracy theory, confabulation, misinformation, manipulation. Mars, of course, warrior, champion, hero. Pisces, displaced people, refugees, immigrants, borders and border control. Strips of land where war can happen, like GAZA. And this is literally a story that Mars, the god of war, in the sign of Pisces, Neptune, the god of the sea, have been working together to create since 2013. That story is ending as they come together in the future, starting in April 13th of 2026 and continuing until 2037. For 7 times, they will co-join together in Aries, the sign of war, of fire, of pioneering, of adventuring, of boldly going where we haven't gone before. Mars, the adventurer. Neptune, the fantastical. Aries, pioneering new. Drugs, pharmacology, because Neptune rules big pharma, or pharmacology, pioneering bold new developments in things to do with movie industry platforms. That's probably AI, because movie industry connects to Neptune's themes. Bold pioneering and new developments regarding sea and ocean. Fire. Fire, stealing fire from the gods. Prometheus, maybe new fire technology, maybe new heating devices, maybe new energy sources that are pioneered and developed and created boldly by Mars and Neptune, and maybe some darker stories to do with war and holy war, but we'll do that for another time. Right now, what we have to think about is this week ahead. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But I want you to know that this trine or flow between Mars in retrogradation in Cancer and Neptune will be that last connection to the Pisces part of our sky. And it's ending an old story that by the time we get to April of 2026, right, we're now moving into brand new territory, which is the Neptune conjunction with Mars in the sign of Aries. Now, let's talk about the week ahead and let's talk about Justin Trudeau. First of all, let's talk about Mars and Neptune. Good old Renn Butler's Archetypal universe. It's not a long video today and this Monday, guys. I'm still trying to be on holiday in January. But when Mars and Neptune work together in a positive way, we'll have things like spiritual and creative vitality, and a trine is positive. We'll have magnetic warmth. We'll have charisma. We'll be gentle and sensitive, strengths, compassionate action, enlightened non-action. The softest things in the world are overcome by the hardest thing. The softest things in the world overcome the hardest things in the world. A great Lao Tzu quote that really amplifies this idea. Or you must learn to be still in the midst of activity and to be vibrantly alive in repose. And that's Mahatma Gandhi's saying, and he was born with a Mars sextile Neptune, another positive flowing aspect. So this is a soft side. This is the good side: sacred sexuality, oceanic sex, tantra, a talent for swimming, a love of soaking in hot water. So you get the vibe of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's great energy for compassionate action, creativity, soldiering forward on some cause for the underprivileged, underrepresented. Pisces rules those people who need our help, that need our charity. So there's something beautiful for all of us Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now, one of the things, and the dark side: cunning, stealth, backstabbing, treachery, holy wars, hidden sneaky conspiracy things. But we're in the positive side of it. But you might ask yourself, what was happening at the end of the month of October, because that's exactly where Mars was traveling. Now he's back over the same real estate in time. If the part of the map he's traveling on when he went direct in trine Neptune is back up in the activation for us all now. And like the last week of October, Beyonce was on the stage with Harris and Trump was stumping away doing his rallies. And it was just, the stuff that was happening. If we look at the bigger story, when the conjunction happened between Neptune and Mars, which was occurring on April 29th, 2024, I looked at our news cycle, and Biden was talking with Netanyahu trying to create a peace deal on that day, or it was in the news cycle. So there is a possibility maybe that could lead to something positive. And another news story was the Los Angeles, two news outlets would not promote or endorse Harris, and there was a backlash because the head honcho said they couldn't do it. Maybe it was Jeff Bezos. And so the LA Times, and so there was that kind of thing about, not being able to promote Kamala Harris because the owner of the newspaper or the magazine didn't want Harris. They wanted Trump in. But more importantly, I think back then, the major story that I think to do with Neptune and Mars in a positive flow in a water area like Gaza was that there was an attempt by Biden at that time. In fact, the headline read, for the Gaza debacle, the headline: Biden confers with Netanyahu on a possible ceasefire and hostage deal. When did that happen? Right around the 29th, 28th of April. That was a headline out of the New York Times. It is very possible, at the highest possibility of anything good happening in this world, that we may see some stories as we head into the weekend looking like maybe some hostage exchanges or some positive deal making here. I talked about that in my Venus and Pisces video, although she gets besieged between or enclosed between Saturn and Rahu, or the North Node, on the 18th of February 1st. We may have the first attempt at creating some kind of peace in places of watery hardship as we look at this month ahead. I know the inauguration hasn't happened yet. I do not know how peace can happen under these circumstances. I doubt Biden is making any efforts as a on the way out guy, nor Harris. So this could only look like Donald Trump getting ahead of the game, or somebody in his administration making the moves before the inauguration. That's the only way I can imagine that happening, unless another country in the world is going to get into the fray and try to at least bring some hostages home and end the bloodbath. Now, we're going to talk about your sign, but let me show you the sky. And of course, Trudeau, right? Trudeau will not be the next prime minister. That's a foregone conclusion in the politics. Forget the astrology. Let me just tell you a thing about Trudeau in a minute. I mean, from the moment of his election, back in 2021 that he called a flash election because he thought he could win on pandemic polarization of the unvaccinated versus vaccinated and creating fear amongst the people. One thing I will say is that he had Chiron, okay, in a very bad place. But let me just tell you about this guy first, because I realize it's going to be simpler if you look at this guy and you see what I'm showing you. This is going to be, if we go back to Monday, okay, let me put Mercury in the news guy as well. I'm simplifying the chart because there's not enough happening to talk about. So I get that some of you want to see where every planet is. I know where they are. You don't have to know everything. So here's what the sky looks like as we go back in time to Monday, which is the 6th. And I know that there's the sort of like the ratification of the final election on January 6th, right? By the Congress or whatever, how that works in the United States. That's not going to happen. Okay. That is just going to happen. I don't care if it's gnarly and contentious. It's definitely going to happen. But you'll notice that on January 6th, which is a Monday, Mercury in Sagittarius, a sign of his detriment, all bluster, no detail, is talking to Neptune in a square for difficulty and hardship and contention. This is the ascendant sign of the United States of America. It's also the ascendant sign of Netanyahu and the ascendant sign of Joe Biden. Sagittarius is squaring Neptune. Now, Neptune with a square to Mercury is usually about communication that is untrue, especially with Neptune in detriment. So communication that is confabulated or, lying or misinformation of some sort going on in the sky at the time of this energy. Ignore the nodes. This is an out of sign connection. Really what Mercury's doing is just talking to Neptune. Because there's been a power shift in the United States and Trump is elected now as president-elect, this is indicating most likely that what we would call this part of the sky here, which is Pisces, it used to belong to the Republican Party, but now that the Republicans have been put into power, then this is the Democrat. So the Democratic Party has Neptune square Mercury, and there may be an attempt, for instance, to, I don't know enough about this stuff. Some people are talking about the 14th Amendment, whatever that is, but, to like make a case that this is a bogus election. But you have to laugh because this is the whole Mike Pence, January 6th, insurrection, all those years ago, in which it was all the evil, bad Republicans who are doing everything wrong. And now it's the other way around. Now it's the Democrats trying to, not stop the steal, but, stop the progression, the relentless progression of King Trump to the throne. So you just have to laugh. Both sides are just complicit in. No one wants to be a winner, and everyone wants to be a winner, and everybody's a very sore loser. Okay, so let's keep going and know that this story is a blip on the radar Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and it is over. And we move forward, comme ça, or like this. And by the way, Mercury's treading new ground. When he's on Monday, he's not going back over retrogradation space, which is even another thing to say. This does not take us back to redo the ballots or redo the election or any weird stuff like that. Oh, I'm past the inauguration day. I'll be doing an inauguration day video. Check me out at Pluto Chronicles on Substack, where I cover a lot more of this information about the Pluto transit. And I have a whole inauguration day article out there. It's free right now. Check the description box below. Now, we're talking about this story on the 12th. Here you'll see that Mars is at 27 degrees retrograding towards Neptune. They're moving toward each other like this, okay? This is what we call a trine. A trine is very positive. It brings luck, opportunity, growth, expansion. It is a nice vibe that we all have going in the collective sphere. Let's not be afraid of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and maybe some peace deals could come through. Venus is exalted in Pisces. She's right here. Okay. Probably should have put her in there. Let's add her. Now let's not. Just trust me. She's right here. And so peace in the Middle East, peace on watery areas of conflict. We could include Russia, Ukraine, maybe, and deals that could be going on there as well, just because Crimea and water territory is sort of half-assed involved in the root cause of the Minsk Accord, failure to continue with agreements, NATO and United States, Crimea. These older stories go back to why we even have a war in the Ukraine. I don't believe that Putin's a megalomaniac trying to conquer all of Europe, but that's just my take on it. You don't have to troll me. It doesn't look like that in his chart. I'm not saying he's a saint, but that's not what I'm saying. So Venus could be bringing peace, give peace a chance, but she will get squished on the 18th of the month. of January through to February 1st, between two malefic energies, Rahu, the North Node, and Saturn, who's right here as well, indicating potential slowdowns or stalls or difficulties in engaging in peace talks or ceasefires or hostage exchanges, etc. But there may be some hope this weekend coming up, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So all the way through Monday the 13th, we see this trine quite active in our collective sky. And I'll be talking about how you might use this energy in your own life based on your sun, moon, and rising sign. One interesting piece is Juno forms a sort of very light touch water trine. She's the goddess of agreements and contracts. That includes peace deals, right? From Venus up here, Saturn, lasting ceasefire, anyone? Can we get it to work? Contracts and agreements, vows legally, and that includes marriage. This can be about where we're trying to stabilize places in our life where we've made agreements and we want to fortify them. Go back, especially to the last week of October, marriage agreements, business agreements, alliances, vows, and contracts in your life, and how this Friday through Monday, there is an attempt to bring in new harmony, ease, and flow to whatever agreements that we have made in our lives. That's basically it. Ooh, and we get a half-assed kite, okay? It's not quite a kite, but it's a half-assed kite here. And so maybe something can lift off in our lives, individually and collectively, where we want to let go of something in the Virgo sky in order to release something and experience some success from the handhold of the kite as well, which is Pisces. So we'll talk about this sort of loosey kite, goosey kite for your sign. Now, what about Justin Trudeau? My Canadian followers, which represent 6 to 7% of my YouTube following, been asking me forever to do a little bit of a Justin Trudeau on the astrology. Now, number one, when the 2021 summer election was called by Trudeau, in which he ran on a platform of vilifying anyone who wouldn't get the V and making everybody an outlier, ostracized fringe element and discounting anyone's concerns, he had Chiron in solar arc time crossing over his midheaven. So I knew that this would be a wounded term, that he would be highly wounded in this fallout from that election. And the official election is fall of 25. It will happen sooner because he has devastated the party. Now in Canada, because of scandal after scandal and the FU Trudeau flags, he is despised by the majority of the population. What has happened is the Liberal Party is now in estimates, if there's four parties here. There's Bloc Québécois, NDP, Liberals and Conservatives, more or less. It looks like if there was an election called today, the Liberal Party would not be the opposition party. It would fall to the bottom with the NDP. And Bloc Québécois from Quebec would be the opposition party. The party is in such fragility that it would no longer even be in the opposition part of the system. It would be a minority fringe party. It's that bad. So the latest scandal was our finance minister stepped down. There was a transit of Mars, I think, to get Mars stationing on Trudeau's south node, if I remember correctly, but I'll look again at it. And this is, of course, goodbye. She quits. And that's another scandal. And she didn't just quit. The finance minister, Chrystia Freeland, wrote a scathing letter sort of condemning his grab the vote with gimmicky tax break policies that's not going to save the Canadian economy, and people aren't smarter than that. And it's true. He's tried to buy the votes in many ways because he doesn't have the vote. So a gimmicky tax break that we've got for 2 months for no GST taxes on your Pamper diapers and your wine, but it's not enough to win people's vote. It really isn't. Canadians are not bought that easily. We're not that stupid, really. And unfortunately, Trudeau imagines that people are. Now, I'm not going to do Pierre Poilievre. Of course, he's going to win. Of course, he's the next prime minister. Of course he is, because I'm not interested in him right now. I'll look at his chart later when you want to know more about policies. He will win the next election. In Canada, Trudeau's in trouble. Let's take a look at his chart. Let's talk about it. Okay. Now, the backdrop is also, am I in the wrong chart? Stop the share. It didn't come up for some reason. My software didn't show you his chart. Why? All right. Justin Trudeau. All right. Yes, it was Mars transiting his south node when Chrystia Freeland, our finance minister, I Minnie Mouse because of her voice, stepped down. She will make a bid with Mark Carney to take over if they have a chance. So let me explain our politics for you, just briefly before you show you his chart. If he doesn't retire or resign now, okay, then unfortunately or fortunately, around the 27th of January, there's going to be a movement in Parliament to vote on a bill, and that's when the opposition party and the other parties that back the opposition party can call a non-confidence vote, and at that point, that non-confidence vote should go through, and Trudeau will be faced with a flash election, okay? And then he has to be the guy running. No one else can take his place, which means immediately the Liberals lose power because he's already so low in the polls. The other option is he resigns and he prorogues the parliament, which means he calls off the legislative body from making any legal decisions. Like, in other words, he pauses parliament. And he does that so that they can find a new leader for the party. It's called a leadership race, at which point Chrystia Freeland, the former finance minister, and Mark Carney, a former bank guy here in Canada, Bank of Canada head, will run for the position against Pierre Poilievre. It's futile. They won't win. I mean, they may win the position. They may win the position, but they still won't win against any election against Pierre Poilievre. So that's just letting you know how this game of our politics works. And the reason they won't win against Pierre Poilievre, well, I'm not even going to tell you, but it partly is some of his planetary placements, but it's also the fragility of the Liberal Party as a people think that Chrystia Freeland was a part of the Liberal Party, and she's part of the reason we're in economic trouble. And she was a major person when the trucker convoy happened in Canada to protest mandates for the truckers. Basically, she was a complicit and the main driver of having their bank accounts frozen, their insurance policies for the trucks taken away from them, and also ordinary Canadians who gave money to a GoFundMe for them also had their bank accounts shut down, including, terrible stories about a single mother who couldn't pay for her food because our government went in and shut their bank accounts down, got the banks to agree to do it. She's not liked in Canada either. Now, here we have Justin Trudeau's chart. Born in 1971, that makes him 53 years old. Now, there's a few things going on in his sky. One, this is where Mars stationed to retrograde on his south node of losses and loss, which is ruled by his sun, which can represent one's career. But this is where the finance minister stepped down, Chrystia Freeland, as Mars was crossing through that part of the sky, for some significant political losses of some sort or career losses of some sort. Now, Justin Trudeau has a Saturn in his 11th house, 10th house. Saturn blossoms at the ages of 36 and the ages of 44. Not going to explain why. This can represent a later in life career. He was a acting student and a acting teacher. He was an educator. Maybe he wasn't teaching acting, but he was an educator at a Point Grey Academy. It's a private school in Vancouver. He was an educator. He was a teacher. Then he went into politics. And this is literally, I think, around 35, 36. He went into politics, if I remember correctly. Anyway, it may have been, no, maybe a little bit later, but this represents a late blooming career, second career later in life. Let's put his midheaven in here for you to see. It happens to be in the 9th house. So he has indeed done a second career later in life, in quotes. His midheaven is on Algol. Algol is where Donald Trump has his midheaven, and they are both under a huge amount of stress and duress. Why? Because this is a part of the sky that represents, for each of them, the dangerous star Algol. Okay, Trump is around 26. This is 27. Doesn't matter. They're both on Algol, off with their heads, decapitation. His midheaven is also been activated by Mars, conjunct Uranus, July 15th-ish, up on the top of this part of the sky, the midheaven conjunction. This was happening all of July. And ever since the Mars-Uranus conjunction happened up there with Justin Trudeau's midheaven, which is a once every 84-year conjunction, it began to topple him. He's losing his head of state, kaput, right? Algol kaput, head of the Medusa, beheaded, held in the hand of, Perseus as they fought, with Medusa's head on a shield. Now, The interesting thing about that is that when you look at a Mars conjunction to Uranus on the midheaven for the first time in his life and the last time, it's a 2-year story. You see, it's a synodic cycle that doesn't finish telling its tale until the summer of 2026. This is why Donald Trump's still in physical harm's way, right? Especially around March 21st. Go read my Pluto Substack article. It's in my description box below how to get there about why I say that. This is why it doesn't matter that this happened to Trudeau in July and everything began to tumble down for his party. It went down like this, that the ratings have been going down. There's been problem after problem. And now we've got his person retiring, Chrystia Freeland, are stepping down, resigning from her job as deputy prime minister. Okay, that's how high she was. Well, basically, he's under this influence of toppling and losing his head, and it's not going anywhere, nor is Trump, unfortunately. Why I do not think Trump will finish his 4-year term, but I'm not going to talk more about him right now. This is Justin Trudeau's time in the height of the sky. And as we look at the transiting heavens and what's going on in our current sky, just, what could possibly add some salt to the wounds? This is what adds salt to the wounds. The South Node begins on January the 12th to move into his house of identity. And over the next 18 months, it means losing one's identity. Surrender, let go, down the drain. He's been prime minister since 2015. This transit takes us through to a fall of 2025 election, although we may not have to wait that long. And it activates a sense of personal loss that begins in the month of January and continues to be true for 18 whole months. So that is the opposite of auspicious. It is extremely difficult. Venus, when you're a politician and Venus is going through Pisces, this is indicating your chance to be popular with the people. That's kind of what it means. Or it can mean an open enemy as a female, maybe Chrystia Freeland grabbing his spot in the limelight and trying to run for the position he has. But this Venus gets besieged or stuck or enclosed between Saturn and the North Node, because they're traveling through the real-time sky here on the 18th of January to the 1st of February. And that is definitely a time, like I mentioned earlier, where if he doesn't resign, then there will be likely a non-confidence vote and he will probably lose. He will end up having to be forced into an election. I doubt that he'll wait that long. I'm pretty sure someone will advise him to step down and prorogue the parliament, meaning there will be a leadership race, which delays our legislative body from making any legal decisions and, running the House of Commons and being in effectly pausing our government during the Liberal leadership campaign. That's what I think was most likely going to happen. Now, anything else I want to tell you about him? Well, some people speculate, but when you have Venus in the 6th house natally or in the 10th house, you can have office love affairs. There's all been a long-running assumption was having an affair with Foreign Affairs Minister Jolie. This is just rumors, but I'm telling you, I'm doing astrology and I can only tell you what the public news stories are that have been printed. Okay. So yes, this is something he's capable of doing, possibly. I'm not saying he did, but if you want to read on his chart, that's an interesting story, because when I look at his distributions through the bounds, and he's running on fumes in a cycle that got him into political power, and it runs down August 3rd. And he's no longer in a distributions through the bound cycle where his ascendant is offering him political power. It comes to an end on August 3rd. But the other thing that starts to activate is stories to do with love and romance. And certainly with the North Node traveling through here, he will retire, but he may be known in the next new cycle of his life for his new romantic love story. Is it Jolie or is it somebody else? Because the girl is married, to some musician, violinist or something like that, artist type guy. So, but the North Node cycle through his 7th house can bring destined love stories or destined news of his new love stories into the public, starting this January through to the summer of 26. Now, I don't need to do any other charts on him. That's all I need. I could go into his perfection age. I could do his solar return. If anyone wants that, I'll do his solar return. Perfection age 53. What does that mean? Well, 48, 49, 51, 2. He's in his 6th house age right now. His birthday on December 25th knocked him into the age here, 53. Double check my math, 24. Yeah. So he's ruled by Saturn in his profection age, If I'm over your head, sorry, a lot of my followers are students. And we ask ourselves how Saturn functions in his chart. It's his career 10th house reputation planet, right? One of the major players in his sky. And so in that regard, it says he will have some focuses, destined change, North Node, on matters to do with Saturn career. It's not necessarily negative or positive. It's just what it is. Saturn is ruled by Mercury in his chart. Mercury is home alone in the midnight hour and in a condition of exile. It could indicate an exile from his position in his work or career. This perfection age, 6th house age, also can be perfected by months. This is December. This is January. In January, the man is living through this whole Pisces part of his sky, where he's going to have a besiegement of Venus and the 18th of the month conjunct Saturn through to February 1st in his public life as a politician, in maybe being Chrystia Freeland grabbing his spot or aiming to take it. All of those stories of an exalted female trying to press against him as an open enemy. So these stories are very active. He's very thick in the thick of it in the month of January, right here. Will he retire? Maybe. Maybe this is a retirement signature for him. Why? Because Jupiter, who I drew over, that's Jupiter in his 4th house. This is where you go home to be alone in your private life. Jupiter rules his public house, but he will be taking orders from what transiting Jupiter might suggest he do. And Chandra Jupiter's up here, concerned with the career retrograde. Not direct till February 4th, not very strong. So it looks like a weak month for him that could lead him to give up, quit his job. Let's take a quick look. Now, what I want to say, I didn't need to look at it anymore. There's enough going on to say he's going to lose South Node ascendant. His identity must be changed and surrendered. That's only something that happens every 18 years. He hasn't lived through this before. This is the first time the South Node has been dragging his Virgo ascendant down, 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 and leading to his problems. It's funny because, I don't know if you know how he talks. His Mercury for speech and Neptune, basically, he doesn't tell the truth. But he also, if you're in the House of Commons watching him, he never answers a question. Justin Trudeau is famous for never answering the question. He's also famous for almost like a stutter. Mercury is in debility, and he goes, ah, 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 ah. And I cannot believe he hasn't had any elocution lessons in all of his time in office. Okay, just it's beyond the beyond. Okay. You could say this as a leader, Jupiter, with problem speaking. Okay, let's go ahead and do a solar return. And then we're done with Justin Trudeau. This was for my Canadians. The rest of you don't like this stuff, you can leave the scene. Subsidiary chart, current solar return. He just stepped into it. Okay, so on his birthday, this is his story. He's got an anaretic ascendant. He's changing, ending, finishing, completing something. It's turbulent. It's not an easy energy. It's Gandanta. It's at the tail end of a water sign. He is drowning. This is waves and storms, and this is the Cancer pond has got quicksand and he's sinking here. So he's in a difficult energy field as of his birthday, December of 2024. This is a solar return energy. The solar return puts the sun in Capricorn in the house of the public eye and the public and the audience in the marketplace for his work, or the other, Capricorn, the 7th house is your opponent. And when you're in politics, it's the leader of the opposition party, which is Pierre Poilievre. Did you know that Pierre Poilievre is a lawyer? Do you know that Athena in the charts of clients is either the librarian, the author, or the lawyer? I have hundreds of proofs of that. I should do a class on what I've learned about Athena in 5,000 chart readings. So a lawyer male who's very much resourceful and Capricornian and deals with money and economic issues. And that's one of his main platforms, is the economic platform that Pierre Poilievre runs on. But Capricorn represents tradition and conservatism. The conservative energy is opposing him. And that is definitely Pierre Poilievre showing up as the main adversary. His midheaven is under the turbulent energy of the North Node, which is destined change, with the chironic wound right there. Well, it's already a chironic wound, and it continues to be a chironic wound. Well, he has got a south node in the fourth house. He may change his home. He lives at Rideau Residence. I think it's called Rideau Residence. That's like our White House, right? Rideau. He will have to leave his home at this age. No more Rideau Residence. No more trips to the fancy cottage as well for the sitting prime minister. He has a south node, loss of his home, add the moon, and it gets even more profound. Now, Venus over here can be a secret love affair hidden from the public view and possibly with a legislator or somebody in government. Maybe he has already had some kind of love affair. Will it come out during the age that he's in? I need to look for the asteroid Salacia, but I think with Venus squaring Uranus over here, yes. If he's had a secret love affair on his wife during his time as prime minister, that may become hit the news cycle. It may definitely hit the news cycle. Okay, watch the wedge forming here. So that's wedge. It's a wedge. There's a wedge. So through the news of Mercury in the news cycle, there may be some disclosure about that at some point in the next year or at his age of 53. 53 is a karmic age. You're bringing like kind of karmic debt repayment plans home to roost. That's kind of an interesting time for him. And don't forget, he's a Virgo rising when he's born. That puts his Virgo ascendant in the third house, not a strong place when you're a leader, right? To find your ascendant falling into the third house of the Accadant house in the solar return chart, just not a strong place. And it puts his ascendant opposite Saturn. So opponents kind of down, repressing him, pressing him down. His midheaven on Algol is over here, okay, sitting with Uranus, squaring Venus. Something's going on here in the next year to do with a sort of a personal career and reputation calamity to do with secret romantic or financial dealings, right, Pluto? So secret romance or financial scandal may emerge in this year of his life. Will he be able to hold on to power? Well, I don't think so. Not with this Gandanta Anaretic. I'm drowning in the swamp of my own muddy pond here. I doubt it. But also, one more thing, last thing I'll say about this is that I can perfect by month. And one of the ways to do that, I'm going to do right now. It puts him right here. This is the month. This is January. One of the perfection, he's in Mars opposite Pluto on a financial axis in the month of January. Like you could even say he's opposed by a female on January 20th. Is that Chrystia Freeland stepping in to run for the leadership of the party? Probably. So look for January 20th and a female opposition for him, opponent. Now he'll still, I mean, if he prorogues, that means that he's letting the leadership race happen, but he'll feel like now a woman's got his spot. And she is an open enemy now. When she resigned, she basically declared herself an open enemy, the way she slammed him when she quit and told everybody how rotten he really was with what he was up to. So this is going to indicate that could be a very Chrystia Freeland moment on the 20th of January. Around that time, look for that. So in March, we see the south node of loss for him. So that's definitely like if there is an election that gets called, this could be where he's got the downdraft in the month of March, and we're actually in an election month. Now that would require, I think, a non-confidence vote, because I think if they do a leadership election, they might try to forestall an election till September, but with a non-confidence vote, they won't be able to do that. So we're looking at an election month probably in the month of March. That's it for my Canadians. I hope that is useful. Let's do your sign. We're going to start with Aries, and I'm talking about a flowing, beautiful energy of Mars, Trine, Neptune in your chart. Really good for clear action, non-diluted action, knowing what you want, clearing the fog, acting with compassion, spiritual energy, creativity. And we'll look quickly at your sign. We'll whip around the chart. Don't forget to like and subscribe. My 2025 all signs videos and individual videos, 2 hours each, PDF guidebook for each sign is available on my Santa Claus sale. I've extended it till the end of January. After that, the product goes back to the regular price. It's a fundraiser. I get myself equipment and timestampers and virtual assistants and people to help me with my channel with this money from this fundraiser. So those long 2-hour videos divided by quarter don't go out into the public, right? Just, you can get my mini half-hour video about 2025. The playlist is on my channel. And check out Substack. I have a column there. I'm loving writing again. I'm also going to be doing a podcast there, and I'll be talking about Pluto and Aquarius. It's called the Pluto Chronicles. Check it out. Description link below. Oh, wait, one more thing. People ask me how to get a reading with me. You got to get in my Cosmic Moonshine newsletter. You got to get in my Patreon community because that's when I give early notice to you guys and not the public. And then those spots that are very limited, February, March, and April, will fill out within an hour of my email. It's not a guarantee you'll get a reading. I can't help it. I'm not seeing that many clients anymore. And I even have a wait list like 2,000 or 3,000 people long. It's not a wait list. I'll call you because there's a spot. It means it's an early bird notice list. Oh my God. So I'll be referring other astrologers out on my website. Later this month, I'll have that page ready for you. I'm only recommending people I trust, that I've had a reading with myself, or that I taught, or that I know they're very, very good. And it's just so you'll have other resources that I think are valuable. I'm not making money off of these people. I don't have an affiliate link. I'm just supporting other astrologers who are really good in their work. Okay, let's do all signs. We're going to start with Aries. Okay. Ooh, I think I'm probably back on Trudeau again. Let's get rid of him. Yeah. Let's do it. So we're going to start off with the real-time clock, as my teacher Adam Ellenbus always says, the real-time clock. And we're going to go ahead a day. We're going to go ahead to the weekend so you can see the weekend sky, okay? And we're going to start with Aries too. So let's just move us to like the 12th, which is Sunday, but you'll feel this Friday through to Monday, okay? Friday through to Monday. Let's simplify the hot mess. We don't need everybody there. I don't know that you guys need everybody there. I'm gonna lean the baby out. We're gonna put in Mars. We're gonna put in Saturn and Venus because we're up there. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna keep Neptune. We're gonna get rid of the sun and the moon and this and that. Now I think I've got it as simple as I want it. Okay. And here we go. So let's start off with I kept Jupiter there. Well, let's just leave Jupiter because it's like easy enough. And let's go to Aries. Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. You can see I'm going to keep this short today, guys. Okay, I put a couple of longer videos out recently, and I just need to have some downwind time for my downwind time. What I'm going to do, no wine from the 6th of January until the 1st of February. Wish me luck. Oh my God. All right, January 12th, 2025. We're talking about Friday through Monday coming up this week, a beautiful flow, a gorgeous energy for you in the 12th house. This is really good for being home alone and being creative, fantasizing, daydreaming, putting some creative project together in your downtime, your solitude, your alone time from your home. It is so simple, but also with the flow to Juno, are there contracts, agreements, or partnerships or events that you want to solidify regarding your business partnerships or financial matters to do with business partnerships? This could look like those kinds of things on your radar this Friday through Monday. This is also a beautiful time for action you're taking in your home and decisions you're taking from your home. Go back to the last week of October. What were you doing then that are going to be back on your radar again? Now, it can be with Mars here, decisions around travel from home or moving your home, either one. And if you do have any decisions about your home to move your home, you're getting a huge amount of support from foreign lands and distant shores and foreign places and foreign people. Also, things you wish to decide upon and act upon to do with home and homeland connected to income generated from distant shores. So you're kind of making plans and decisions and actions. Don't forget, Mars goes direct on February 23rd or so. So a lot of this is a planning phase, and actions can be taken in February on the 3rd week onward when he's in direct motion until mid-April. Finally, dreaming at night, fantasizing, visualizing, meditating, trance states, Neptune, Saturn, Venus, exalted in your life. Really, really luscious energy this weekend. And Mars allows for those states of being to also help you move away from any childhood wounds or addictions or self-undoing or patterns from your early childhood that have held you back in life. And sometimes they're very subtle. We just have to make a decision to see, I don't do that anymore. That's what my mom and dad did. I'm out of there. I'm going to turn my heat on, be right back. I have a unit that I live in, I rent, and it's got baseboard heaters, and baseboard heaters, dry air, dry my eyes out. I hate them. And then on the other hand, then I get really cold and I'm really hot. Okay, moving on. Hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. Oh, and the nodes of fate. The nodes of fate are moving, into Virgo now and into Pisces. And so understand that there's a whole new energy for you. And I just put my second video out on the nodes of fate changing sign. So please go watch it. But you can see a loosey-goosey kite forming here into Sunday, Monday. And the vibe is, how can you move into greater success by letting go of work, letting go of old patterns to debilitate your health, to increase greater liftoff and success in your life, and particularly in your career endeavors, especially if your career involves writing, communicating, marketing, and selling. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. Take a look at like Friday through Monday. We have this Mars trine to this whole lovely, juicy stellium, but particularly Neptune. Mars trine Neptune. What do you need to do that allows for some kind of dreams come true uplift in your career gains, in your work environment, or in your social environment with friends? That's where things want to be elevated with some support from Mars, who's retrograding towards Neptune, and he's in a contact point with events that may have occurred in the last week of October, closer to Halloween. What were you up to? And, Mars is going back over old ground here. Was it travel? Was it communications? Was it writing projects? Was it social media? Was it commuting? What were you doing around Halloween, basically, let's say the 27th to the 30th, 31st of October? That's where Mars is traveling now. And you might have things that were occurring then to do with your third house that are back again. And travel and trips are in that part of the sky, learning and studying, communicating, marketing, and selling, and career gains. So go back and look at the time in your life and see how you're repeating it. There's a water trine here with Juno, and this is solidifying your significant long-term love relationship. Okay. So this can really help deepen the ease, the flow, and the generosity between you and a significant other. When it comes to things in your local environment, there can be legal contracts and agreements getting ready to be penned and forged in a dreamy and positively dreams come true way that allow you to take some career gains off the table. Say you own a brick and mortar business down here, and you could sell it with this energy, and it would be very beautiful and easy to get that legal contract to sell a business, for example. In this particular type of chart, or a home, a property, because of where Jupiter sits. And so that opens up a nice energy for you on the weekend, Friday through to Monday. It's almost like dream business partners, dream legal contracts, making some momentum around business endeavors and travel plans as well. If I was in a love relationship, I would take this weekend for a getaway, Friday through to Monday, and go off on a dreamy trip and have some fun and social time with friends or significant other. Oh, wait. And there's a half-assed kite forming here, pointing at the North Node, indicating that by letting go and releasing something to do with your fifth house, you can succeed. Let go of a pleasure or a joy or something frivolously fun that doesn't serve you anymore. Surrender and release and let go of an attachment to your child. Maybe you're hovering over your children. Let go of something connected to your romantic endeavors. It's time to let a romance go because you'll be better off for it, that kind of thing. Like, I surrender, I release. Now that's a romance. That's not a committed love story. So if you have a romance, you can let it go. Dating, not committed yet, in the early stages. A kid moving out of the house can be really good for you if this is a story for you that makes any sense. And that can really be an elevating vibe as you see this kite forming, Sunday, Monday into Tuesday. Next week. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. As we approach the Sunday, the January the 12th weekend, and we get a perfecting energy here between Mars and Neptune. You'll see that this trine energy takes you into areas to do with career, reputation, endeavors to do with your successful outcomes and your ambitious goals for your career and reputation, and Mars in the house of your earnings and your savings and your possessions. Now, there's so many ways this could play out. You could get a dreamy possession for your work, like a new car lease or something. You could spend some money for something important in your career that you may have been thinking of spending money on, closer to Halloween when Mars was in the same spot, trining Neptune. I think I was going to buy a laptop back then. I was looking at buying my upgraded laptop, and I said to my partner, I'll wait till the new year. So maybe I'll be looking at purchasing that laptop, for example, that I need desperately. There's an energy, because I'm a progressed Gemini sun. There's an energy of Mars here, though. I mean, it's about decisions and actions you want to take to around the way you save money, earn money, and are financial resourceful in connection to career. And you can see there's this flow and a beautiful trine to Juno. And this could involve a legal contract or a partnership arrangement. If you're looking for work, this could involve signing on the dotted line for a new job. If you're self-employed, I'm not sure. It could be something more like me, I'm self-employed, some kind of partnering in business endeavors with another person that goes really well Friday through Monday to elevate your ascension of your success in your career. An exalted Venus looks good on you through to the 18th of January, before she's kind of enclosed between some malefics. And so you're having a beautiful get a raise, get a promotion, ask the boss for a favor, up level in your A game in your work, and having some kind of contractual agreements also participate. And the south node forming a loosey-goosey kite, let go, surrender, and release, something to do with home, property, land, and real estate. But in that sense, rather than it being literal property, although this could look like letting go of a home to forge a new lease agreement that favors you financially. Otherwise, it could be surrendering and letting go of childhood patterns that are not going to work for you in terms of your career success. So that's a story as well. Ultimately, whenever the south node goes, we have to surrender and let go of something. And so, something like the midnight hour, and your childhood, what's going on down there. But for some of you, it could be the beginning of the end of a current place of living, and you may see evidence for that Friday through to Monday. Mars, sun, moon, and rising. I keep waiting for my landlord to tell me she's selling the property and I'm going to have to move. Okay, Mars, sun, moon, and Mars. Cancer, sun, moon, rising. I want you to think back in time to October 28th to the 30th, 31st-ish. Mars is back in the same sky that he was traveling. You'll feel like you're back in time traveling, maybe to some degree, Friday through to Monday the 13th. Because that's the same ground Mars was traveling. Were you going to make a decision, take an action on something at that time connected to your ninth house? Purpose, dharma, meaning of life, spiritual path, higher education. Were you going to sign up for a course? Legal and court battles. Were you going to change some kind of path that you thought was, meaningful, like quit a path, start a new path in life? Because you see, true north and dharma and the meaning of one's life can be ninth house. So there's like a deeper dive than just the surface of your life with this kind of sky, right? Dreamy spiritual upliftment, clearing the fog, seeing the way forward in the way you wish to move into alignment with one's true purpose. You do have Chiron finishing up the key to purpose in your 10th house. So this is not a stretch. And exalted Venus in good condition still, as we approach this weekend, looking pretty in your 9th house, could be a gorgeous exaltation energy of higher academic university, college kind of in vibrations, getting accepted at your favorite school, getting your best grade ever, being able to maybe also have an exalted legal outcome on your behalf when the judge says you win. Move on, everybody. You're the winner of this judgment. Juno is flowing to the fifth house, and it's so beautiful because this is really good for contractual vows and agreements in romantic partnerships, but also with your children. And it can be very many things. A child gets accepted at their favorite school. You make an agreement with your child that favors your child and you. Your child may be getting ready to travel to a far off foreign land, and you guys are making agreements or arrangements around that. Who knows? Who knows? The kite is pointing to the south node in the third house. Let go of your social media life, your website, your skills-based teaching and learning path. Let go or surrender your marketing and selling endeavors. Let go or surrender the relationship to a sibling, one younger than you, if it's necessary, especially if that sibling is somehow, a drain on you or a difficult relationship. Sometimes surrender the neighborhood. Now, surrender the neighbors and neighborhood. This is a story that's 18 months long, and it could move you to a new neighborhood, right? Just keep that in mind. But it may be involving a move with your children to another neighborhood as well, or you're moving because of your children to another neighborhood. That's a story that may begin to percolate as a theme that you're addressing this Friday through to 13th, Monday the 13th. Okay. Leo, sun, moon, and rising. We have a Mars trine coming through, Friday through to Monday, just taking you back to the last week of October around Halloween, maybe themes that are going to come back to do with the money you share with a spouse, your taxes, your inheritance money, your stock investments, your pension plan, savings and investments, those chunky money stories, income that's from royalty, checks or something. So your chunky money, unearned income house is activated. Okay. Marital shared resources too. And it was activated the last week of October. And Mars is trying to bring a clarity and clear some fog and he's the defogger on what you want to do regarding those monies and income you may generate from far off foreign shores and distant lands, Mars in the 12th house, or changes you want to make behind the scenes to the way you have shared your resources with your significant business and love partner. And that can look like tax structural changes as well because of this sky's alignment. The Juno is also about real estate and property. And this could indicate something to do with an opportunity to buy or sell a property with legal contracts and agreements, and maybe a connection to far off foreign shores and distant lands, or backroom deals and negotiations that allow you to secure the purchase or the sale of a property, or because Saturn rules the house of rentals here, a rental opportunity to be the tenant or the landlord. Either one can work. This is a sky that opens up a dreamy, easy flow around that stuff Friday through to Monday. But likely you saw this kind of story playing out in October as well. Now it's back again, right? The North Node, South Node says, let go of your hustle. It's time not to worry so much about making the money, saving the money, managing the money. Let go, surrender, release. Maybe rely, it says, on money that comes from other sources than your own hard-earned paychecks. That's what you're wanting to surrender over the next 18 months. Go watch the nodal video, but you'll feel this kind of acute window of, maybe I need to surrender this. And maybe because I'll sell my house and I'll have more money to live on, or I'll rent or sell or get a property that's more affordable and liberate some cash or something like that. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen Friday through Monday. I'm saying these things are going to be considered. You'll need Mars in direct motion after February 23rd for any actions to actually take place. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. I'm talking fast because it's been a long work day, taught a 2-hour class. It's a Sunday. I want to at least go out and walk. It's a beautiful day. I mean, it's not beautiful, but it's not raining. I'll go out and take a walk. All right. Virgo, Mars is definitely doing what he did close to Halloween. He's backtracking from late October's the story in your house of friends. Did you have a falling out with a friend? Did you cut away from a friendship or group of belonging? Did you have a colleague, coworker conflict? Did you have some kind of confrontation with an elder sibling? Maybe, but this is back to the end of October. And now Mars is back in your 11th house. That's the things I described to you. And he's flowing to Neptune again in the house of your significant long-term committed love, business partnerships, clients and audience and marketplace. So clients, audience, marketplace, significant long-term committed love stories are in your narrative coming up in a positive way this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, all the way through to Monday the 13th. Now, this is really good for doing fun social things with the significant other, with groups of people, and no big deal. But the flow to Juno could also have you guys make some sort of agreements in your committed love story with an exalted Venus highlighting an elevation. This could be a marriage proposal. This could be someone on bended knee at the restaurant cafe or on a getaway trip with you to say, do you want to marry me? So some of you Virgos in a relationship could find yourself in a proposal of some kind. It's also good for a getaway with a committed love partner, for a fun trip or adventure. And if it's in your work environment, you could get a contract that puts you into a new area or division of the company, or some kind of elevation and change of the way you do the job you do that feels good for you. And you're going to be very happy because it's an exalted new direction with a beautiful flow to the goddess of agreements. So a change in the division, a change in your role in the company or something like that. Let go, surrender, release, a loosey-goosey kite of your identity. Well, your identity is anything. Like, I'm a loser, I'm a winner. That's what's going to happen to Trudeau. I'm a prime minister. It's time to surrender an old way of being and letting go of that so you can thrive and grow and flourish in long-term committed love relationships by surrendering an old version of yourself. Whether you're single or not, this is true. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is a story of Mars, Trine, Venus, Mars and Venus, Mars, Trine, Neptune. This is Friday through to Monday. You're feeling it happen. You got the vibe. And so it ends on the 13th, 14th, Monday, Tuesday. It's kind of waning. Mars is talking from the career space, decisions and actions regarding career, taking you back to the last few days of October. It's back again. Dreamy career actions and decisions want to play out to bring some fantastical dreams come true results in your work and career. Now, honestly, Mars likes to quit jobs up here. And so maybe you're thinking back in October, I'm going to quit my job. And now he's back again. He's saying, am I going to quit my job? You could probably think about it again, and you may. But you may put an exit strategy, an exit plan in place. Otherwise, you're drivingly ambitious to succeed like you were at the end of October in your career and workspace. And this time you're really killing it because an exalted Venus, work is hard, but you're exalted for your hard work and you are elevated in your stature, in the work, in your reputation. Hard work pays off. Dreamy results are here for you Friday through to Monday of this week ahead. I think the Juno thing is a new contract or agreement, terms of service. You get some kind of either business partnership alliance or new terms of service or agreements regarding work, or a very easy termination of a work with like a great severance package or an exit strategy with ease and flow. When I look at the South Node, let go, surrender, release, it's a very karmic house. So it's past lives. Surrender, release, and let go of some part of you that's really stuck from another time and place. I can't even tell you what it is. I mean, it's ruled by Mercury and he will be in Capricorn. So ancestral line, family of origin, let go, release, surrender, the last vestiges of your own self undoing that keep you from being a superstar in the Artha houses of material success through work and career. Now, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is a story of Mars trining Neptune, Friday through Monday, just like he did back in the last week of October. Same story, second time around. But Mars is in your 9th house, and this is a house of dharma and purpose and meaning in your life, foreign land travel and visas and passports. My son's a Scorpio rising, and he had to reapply for a passport because someone stole it from his car. And it was an ordeal because he had to get a citizenship certificate renewed, etc. It was a chain of disaster. So maybe this is just more momentum to get this thing done. And maybe it goes through because contracts and agreements, you sign your new passport and you've got a new passport. So passports, travel plans, educational opportunities, higher education, things to do with foreign lands and shores and travel plans, maybe, or actions stalled out end of October, now beginning to take off this Friday through Monday, either the planning of the trip or the taking of the trip, for example. Also notice that there's a flow to Venus and Neptune, where Mars is talking to this crew in the house of sexuality, romantic life, pregnancy. entrepreneurial business and creative projects. You might go back and complete an old creative project that has international success written all over it. You might launch a new artistic or creative endeavor or entrepreneurial business successfully under this, especially if you partner in this business endeavor with another person. And maybe pregnancy could happen under this. You never know. Look at the South Node. It means let go, surrender, and a loosey-goosey kite of something to do with your career ambitions regarding career gains. Okay, so maybe it's like take a back seat, get back in the creative entrepreneurial zeitgeist, have more fun, play, and pleasure. Don't work so hard. Let go of some friends and groups of belonging that maybe are inappropriate or draining you in some way. And these things will be considered by you, perhaps, in an easy flowing, gentle way as you approach Friday through to Monday. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. I'm going to pause. I'm going to take a mental health pause. I live in Vancouver. Yeah, that's what it looks like here. I was just tuned in yesterday to Maren Altman. Now I'm watching that young woman. She's only 26, Capricorn rising, roll through YouTube land since 2020 during the pandemic and really take off like a rocket. Bless her soul. I really like her. And she's smart as all hell. She says she's neurodivergent. She's autistic, I think. I don't know if that's true. But she put out her resignation video the other day and she said, I'm just telling you guys I can't do the all signs anymore. I'm going to be stopping. I'm sorry, yada, yada. And she's just such an intelligent woman. And I was listening to her and I was like, I hear you, girl. I hear you. So I'm not sure how much longer I can continue with this particular way of doing my YouTube channel. And as some of you know, I'm thinking of doing another channel altogether. As much as I love astrology, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of energy I put into that, especially my all signs monthlies, which are up to half an hour long each. So I know a lot of you appreciate that about me. And I'm just trying to find new ways through this 5 years of content production where content creator burnout doesn't take me under. So I just had to stop and take a breather and continue for the last 3 signs. So I don't sound like an auctioneer. And then I can go somewhere out there in a day, which is a little bit overcast, but it's not too shabby, and take a nice walk on the seawall, maybe go to Granville Island. No, maybe not. There's the plague circulating. Everyone I know is down sick with something, and that's a crowded place on a Sunday where's a indoor farmer's market. But I'll get out there and get some exercise. Back to you guys. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. The energy takes you back to like close to Halloween when Mars was traveling through Cancer, trining Neptune. Maybe some decisions were being looked at to do with your taxes, your finances, property buying and selling, spending money to invest in a project around home, building, decorating, designing a home. And things that were going on in the last week of October are back again for your consideration. Certainly with Mars here, getting a mortgage, selling or buying property, exalted Venus is a positive thing to be considered. It wouldn't be bad for listing a property for sale under this energy, for example, or listing a property for rent. Venus is the ruler of the rental stuff. And this could be very good for you Friday through Monday. But be aware that Venus will get sort of a malefic enclosure indicating stalls on projects to do with building, selling, buying, renting property. Probably a bit of a stall the 18th of January through to February 1st. There's a contract agreement from foreign distant shores and lands. So if you were to want to list a property or buy a property, it may involve foreigners and foreign places or money from foreign places. This energy also could have you doing something to do with disclosures of family secrets that were hidden from view by you or some people in your family of origin. Now, you can see the South Node is up in your 10th house to let go of career and reputation matters, to release and surrender a path. And that's true for the next 18 months. So you're going to let go of one way of being, focus on what you want in the home life. Venus here, fertility in the home, pregnancy in the home, children in the home, a female visiting in the home. But, you want to go inward here. You want to focus more, certainly Friday through Monday, on what you're doing in the home and less what you're doing in your public life. It's a very beautiful interior, go inward energy for you that's also dreamy and imaginative and creative. And it's good for creative art and creative projects in and from your home on Friday through to Monday. Dreamy, creative collaging maybe of your visions and goals, or journaling your visions, collaging your visions and goals, more like it, Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. So if you go back to like around Halloween, Mars was in the same part of the sky, like last 4 days, 5 days of October. And this is your marriage or business partners or audience or marketplace seventh house. And therefore you have been thinking about making decisions or taking actions here, but you may not have gone forward yet. Now, this is very serious if you're in a long-term committed love story, because this is where the transit of Mars here through till April 18th could end a relationship. Okay, just going to tell you that. And maybe there was some tension here that you were experiencing in that relationship in the last week or so of October into early November. And if so, if that's true, then you're coming back to address that unfinished situation or reassess it. And Mars is trining to Neptune, which is also in a house of travel. In a house of communication, emails, phone calls, text messages. So look to those kinds of emails, phone calls, and text messages to take you back to relationship challenges that may have been playing out for you in the end of October. However, Venus is exalted in the third house, and this would be good for Capricorns to have a dreamy romantic getaway in a local environment, to take that trip if possible for a relationship solidity Friday through Monday. Also, Capricorn, the goddess of committed love, is flowing to Mars and to the goddess of love with this trio. This could be a stabilization or a upgrade or a move toward greater harmony and ease in a committed love relationship that has been somewhat destabilized. But understand, you got that Mars transit through the sign of Cancer to the midpoint around 17 degrees. It is an intense energy. And he doesn't fully leave Cancer until mid-April, April 18th, 17th, 18th. So you're still thinking a lot. If you're a Capricorn sun and moon and rising, and your ascendant is near 17 degrees of Capricorn, then your descendant is 17 Capricorn, indicating, let's say, anyone with a descendant in ascendant descendant axis from 15 to 24 degrees of Capricorn, you're really more in harm's way from Mars regarding a potential severing of a relationship over the next few months. Now, if it's your client's audience and marketplace, it's a great energy for selling, for getting legal contracts and negotiations to improve your work arrangements and your finances, maybe getting a business partnership involving a man that increases some greater gains, but will revolve around your need to travel. And that's the story I'm seeing here as well. Okay. And the loosey-goosey kite, surrender and let go of ninth house. Third marriages, dharma, you're like, you thought your purpose was this, you're wrong, let it go. Spiritual faith and beliefs, let it go. Religious pilgrimages and questings, release and surrender. Because the North Node is putting you in the house of the goddess, which is the everyday world. It's time to come into the everyday world and get some shit done. And an exalted Venus in the third house is really good for marketing, selling, communicating, traveling. Okay. And business partners and agreements and contracts. Aquarius, I'm one of you. So we have a vibe that takes you back to October. This will be like the end of October when Mars was traveling through your work house. This is not just work, it's health, it's pets, it's rentals. Mars is retrograding now over the same ground he was at the end of October, and he's flowing to your second house of what you put in your mouth. I'm going to use me as an example. I took the liberty of doing the autoimmune protocol diet September and October. And the last week of October, I began to slack a little bit on it, right? But I'm back in the autoimmune protocol diet starting when Mars moves here, January 6th. And I might have this turning point vibe, this positive coming through on the weekend. We're all waiting for the weekend. So this will be like the 10th to the 13th kind of thing, where there's a huge amount of ease flow around dietary restrictions, Saturn, and, moving towards a more dreamy and fantastical and clear direction around health. Exalted Venus loves her oral pleasures here. So you'll get some delicious things to eat or drink or smoke that are better for you than not. Okay. Now we also see a flow to the Juno. This is a work axis, work, money, and career. So this is not exactly what was going on in October, other than you may have been working your ass off in the end of October in order to make money. But what this is some kind of agreement, contract, vow, partnership in the work and career setting connected to your work, vows, agreements, and contracts. You might get an offer of some kind, Friday through to Monday, Tuesday, even some contractual offer, right? Partnership offer. Maybe I'll get a sponsorship, an affiliate offer that just blows my socks off. Maybe I'll get some kind of real offer, maybe I'll get a real job, but there's some kind of like momentum. But you will be able to tie it back a bit, maybe to the end of October. Some things that were in the field then coming back to you. Even said, without Mars going direct until February 23rd, the stuff may emerge as potential career opportunities for greater financial gain, but not be fully solidified until after February 23rd. Keep that in mind for sure. There's a loosey-goosey kite, and the kite says, let go, surrender, and release your chunky money. Well, don't do that, but you could sell a stock here. You could change a tax structure. You could release reliance on money that you get through passive income. So I get YouTube income. It's passive royalty income, basically, like a book royalty. I can't surrender that because it's part of my livelihood, but maybe I'll take less of it. I'll produce less videos, less income, right? Less views, less income. That's okay. I can create other sources of income. You can too. Don't rely on the sources of income, your inheritances, your investments, your partner's money. Time to let that go. That's true for the next 18 months. Try to create new expanded directions around the way you earn money. And when Jupiter enters our sixth house in June through June of 2026, then we're going to be super exalted in our earnings in a first in a lifetime way. That's the video that it premiered on Sunday. Please go watch it. Not seen since 1895. So you don't even know, we Aquarians, what we're capable of earning under this new sky. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. First things first, it is a sky that says simply, you have got this incredible opportunity here regarding whatever was happening in October with Mars in your entrepreneurial fifth house or house of children back at the end of October, to make another stab at it. Creative project, entrepreneurial business, children, romance, and sexuality. Go back to last week of October, because now Mars is flowing to you and Neptune in your house of Pisces, your sun, moon, and rising house. And you are now receiving this super clarity, no fog. Neptune was retrograde last time. You're super clear on what you want, and you're going to take the action, especially after the third week of February. But now you see the light between Friday and Monday about the next steps to take. Now, letting go, surrendering, and releasing South Node in the Virgo seventh house could indicate some of you are going to let go of your relationship to a significant marriage partner. Yes, you heard me right. But that's okay, because you also have Juno here. Look at that. Juno in a beautiful water trine. And there can be something to do with legal agreements and contracts, including divorce settlements, on your agenda Friday through Monday. Do you take action or just plot your way out? I don't know. That's the kite there. You are exalted, but you get stuck and wedged in a hard place with Venus on the 18th through to February 1st. So just be careful of that, because some of the things you do now may slog down and slow down, and you may not get what you want out of it. Something to do with one of your children and higher education. One of your children and foreign travel may be on your radar this Friday through Monday. Again, there's a lot of clarity, but when Mars is retrograde, a child could come back towards you that you haven't seen for a while. You could be in touch with that child, and there may be some need to dialogue with that child in a significant manner. Especially in this case, well, I don't know, just about a child and some actions and decisions to be made about that child, or the child's decisions and actions, adult child even, are going to be on your radar Friday through to Thursday. And you might be put in a supporting role to help that person, help that child with their actions and decisions, to be a cheerleader or helper for them. Well, if you're single, I mean, because we're going to come into a Venus trine Mars later in the month, you definitely could be looking at an early dating opportunity here emerging for some new relationship. And it would come into alignment with soulmate, destined love, true love, and a love that could be with someone from a foreign shore, foreign land, or foreign culture. So it's not bad, or you could eventually end up marrying that person. So if you start dating someone new under this, it's not the end of the world, but expect a slowdown February 18th to the February 1st, first date taking off and then the second date being delayed, that kind of thing. But you could date under this energy and find a very dreamy, romantic soulmate union. So single Pisces, don't be afraid to date. But again, for some of you in a committed love story, this could be the first death rattle of a long-term relationship where there's action being taken around separation, custody, legal matters, courts, all of that, or you're planning or plotting these things at this point. Whether you actually take them and do them yet, I don't know. Okay, so that's what I got for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Help my channel grow. I'm going out to take a nice long walk in Vancouver, Canada. I was sharing the view earlier, halfway through Sagittarius. This is a girl who needs her exercise. I'm not getting it these days, but that's my view, guys. That's Vancouver, Canada on a Sunday, January the 5th. There's a video about Trudeau in the beginning for all my Canadian 6%, 7% of my viewers on YouTube. Rest are American, English, Germany, France, etc. But most of you are American. And if you're a subscriber and you haven't if you're a watcher and you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. A simple thing for you to do truly helps my channel grow. Boy, do I need a haircut. I'll see you soon. Take care. Ciao, ciao. Yes, I'm in low-key makeup, no makeup, a little lipstick. I'm going out for some exercise. And that's my little shelf full of all of my oracle decks. Yeah. Bye, guys.